All right, welcome, guys. So, in this week's lessons, it's going to be a little bit different. There's not exercises. It's really more so going to be a lot of little kind of skills that we're going to be going over that will really help looking at workflow in Photoshop. And anyone who's taken any classes with me or seen me work knows I live on my keyboards in Photoshop and in Illustrator generally. I like to use keyboard shortcuts and shortcut keys and commands really whenever I can, because even though it's not that hard to go over and click buttons to the left and come over and do things, it does add up over time. All right, so being able to know how to do a lot of these little tricks that exist in Photoshop that a lot of people don't realize exist in Photoshop can really, when you start working regularly in the software and you're working on bigger projects, save you a ton of time and effort. And they're incredibly useful things to have and to know how to use. So we're going to be really going through a ton of very small little lessons today. I'd encourage you, as you watch through this video, to pause it regularly, jot down notes, even open up some files and play around with some of these things, because sometimes physically doing it is also going to help you remember these little things. And you're not going to remember them all off the bat, but you will as you continue to use them. They just become kind of second nature. You don't really think about it, right? So one of the first things that we're starting with today are just your basic tool shortcuts, and I'm providing you guys this reference for you to be able to download off the page. But I pulled it up here as well, so you can go ahead and pull this out. I would recommend printing it and sticking it right in a notebook, because these are great ones just to be able to hop to your tools easily. If I want to go to my lasso and I hit L, or I want to go to my brush and I hit B, or I want to go to my move and I hit M. Um, Whatever it is that I'm trying to get to, essentially, there's a lot of different tools to get you there, or a lot of different commands to get you there. But they're pretty easy to use. Now, one really cool thing that you might not know, okay, is you notice a lot of ours have tools underneath them. For example, our lassos, right? When you click and you see that deltoid over here, it's showing you that it has other pieces live in it. So if I hit L, it's only going to take me to my lasso, right? So I'd still have to come here and click and hold down. But here's a cool one. If I hold shift and I hit L, see what's happening now over there, right? So by holding shift, it will toggle through those. So again, the same idea, but I don't actually have to go to those tools at all. And this will work with any of these different tools to be able to simply hold shift. If we go to our move, right, or our marquees, I should say, right, toggle between. So shift in that combination of the letter set is going to give you that next little step and allow you to be able to go in and pull those tools right away. So next piece that we're going to look at, okay, we're going to look at the zoom tool, something that we use regularly, but maybe not always to its fullest potential, because there's a lot of different quick ways to use zoom. I can tell you that what I never do is come over to the zoom tool and start like hitting in and back, do so. It's just a waste of time, right? So what you'll see me use regularly instead, and we're going to close that out of the way, right? There's a lot of different cool means to do this. So one, you've got Command plus, zooms you in. Command minus zooms you out. Command 0 fits you to screen. Here's another cool one. Command 1 brings you to 100% of your image, right? And you can go, I said, back and forth really easily. But especially when you're looking at details and you're seeing how something's going to look in print, or you want to look for grain or noise, that Command 1 can be pretty useful in there as well, right? So a couple cool ones there. Now, we also have some other really neat options that you might not realize. And there's this click and drag, and this is newer in the newer versions of Photoshop CC. So if you have an older version, you may not see this yet. Okay, so we know that I can again click in and click out with this, but here's another cool one, right? And this takes some practice to get used to how this works. But let's say I want to zoom like on these lemons, okay? With my zoom tool, and I can get there again by just hitting Z, right? So if I'm on something else, I don't need to physically go over. I can hit Z, I can click, and now I'm on a trackpad, but I can do this on a mouse as well. I'm working on my laptop. I went a little overboard. I was talking there, right? But I can literally click to be able to move and zoom around and then still drag around as well. I went a little bit too far. And as I said, it's going to take that time and practice, but you can zoom in and out simply by the way that you're moving your mouse while holding down. I'm not letting go, right? I'm continuing to click here, or on a trackpad on a laptop by clicking and moving up and down, I can just zoom in and out really easily. But what I need to make sure is where I initially click is where I want to get into, because that's kind of my central point. All right, and I've got a lot running today, so we're making Photoshop a little bit angry. But another really cool option. Okay, so we'll look at some more of these types of things as well here probably. But that's a pretty cool one. Actually, while we're on the zoom tool, let's throw another one in here that you've probably never seen before. So let's say we're on the zoom tool and we're zoomed in on something, whatever it might be, right? And you want to like move around your document and see some other things zoomed in as well. Okay, so you can hold spacebar, and as you know, and that brings up this little panning hand, and it allows you to click and drag around. But even that takes some time and effort sometimes. But here's a cool one. Okay, what I can also do is if I hold down while I'm on my zoom tool, I hold down H on my keyboard, and I click. Right, I'm holding down H, I'm clicking on my mouse, and see what it does. It gives me this box. Just move around. I can say, you know what, keep that same zoom, but go here, or hold H again. And this is what they call the bird's eye view in the zoom tool. Right, so it takes you out to a bird's eye view by holding down that H, and allows you to just simply move to a different location. Again, little tiny things, but things that can save you a ton of time and effort. So another really cool little tool that you have here. Okay, let's look at a different one. I'm going to close one of these documents just because I am slowing down this computer quite a bit today. Okay, so we'll stick here actually for this because it doesn't matter what we're using it on. So when you're working with color, okay, and this is one of the really cool things, you know, we work with color a lot in Photoshop, especially with things like brushes or other tools, right? And you know that you can come over here and you can double click and you can get into your color pickers, or you can go up and pull out your color, right? And you can come over here. But again, it's that constant thing of having to come over and move and change while you're working, right? So this is a really, really cool tool to be able to use, especially for digital painters or people who use brushes a lot. I find this incredibly useful. Okay, you need to be on a tool like your brush, for example, or something that's going to use color for this to work. It's not going to work on like a zoom tool, for example. But what I can do is if I'm on my Mac, I am going to hold down Command, Option, Control, and click. If I'm on a PC, Shift, Alt, and right click. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm on my Mac, Command, Option, Control. I'm going to click, and look at that, right? So I'm continuing to hold that down, and I can literally come right through here, choose a color, and start working with that color right off the bat, all right? And again, I don't really want to keep that, and then I want to switch my color back. I can come right back into it, and it again, it gives us a whole bunch of different options to be able to work with. So really cool to be able to just quick pull up that color picker and adjust things out to what you want. So another really neat little, you know, quick tip and trick to be able to work faster and smarter in your software. Okay. So let's go to another one. So what I'm going to do, we'll come to this guy here, I guess, for this one. It has some layers on it. And bring up our layers here. And what I'm going to do just to make the point here is I'm going to add a couple layers to this, okay? Because we're going to talk about layer selections on this one. So as you know, especially when you get into more advanced photoshopping, you're going to end up with layers and groups of layers and all different things, right? We'll even make a group out of these guys here, maybe, right? There we go. All right, so you run into all these different kind of pieces to it, and as you know, like, you can come over and you can click and start dragging around layers, but again, even that can take time, and it requires your layers open. So the next one I'm going to show you is one, it's useful just to be able to do this quickly, but it's even more useful because when you get used to doing this, you don't even need to go to your layers a lot of the time. You'll get comfortable with your document and knowing your setup and being able to make some of these changes without even having to really think about it. And just be able to keyboard command and pop things forward, pop things backward, make multiple selections even. So some really, really cool options, okay? So here's the first one, right? If I'm on a layer, and whatever layer I'm working on, and let's say that I wanted to select more than just that layer, okay? I'm going to click off the brush there. If I want to select more than just that one layer that I'm working on there, what I can actually do is right from my keyboard, hold down Shift and Option, And then I can use my bracket keys, the same ones I use to change my paintbrushes next to the letter P. And if I hit my left bracket, it's going to build selections down. So if you look over my layers, now I have 1 and 3. If I hit it again, I have 1, 3, and 2. All right. If I hit it again, I have all of them selected. So it quickly allows me to change my selection of layers. If I do the same thing, I'll go into here so you can see it better. All right. So Shift Option, and now I'm going to hit my left key, or I'm sorry, my right key. Right. It's going to go up. It's going to move the opposite direction in the way it selects. And again, it allows me some more control to be able to work with selecting multiple layers as well. Now, with that also, what I can do, and I can do this with one layer or multiple layers when they're selected, okay, is I can even hit Command by itself and then my bracket keys. And I can push that layer down with Command with my left bracket and up with Command with my right bracket. If I held 2 layers together, and then again came back to Command. I broke it by my selection. I picked the locked one. All right, but again, I can move 2 layers at the same time up and down. So different cool options you have to be able to move around and play with your layers. And again, utilizing the Shift option in brackets to select multiple layers, and Command brackets to move up and down.